It's my pleasure to introduce the Customer Leaders panel. One thing that's great about the airline business, we are all customers. We all consume the product that we create. And that has with it not only the advantages, but the challenges. How do we serve our customers, our always evolving customers in a highly competitive industry? It's my pleasure to bring the panel up. We have a terrific panel of customer leaders. So we're going to ask Sofia, Ambar, Dee, Bastian, Neha to please come up on stage. I'm just going to put down this mic. Let's see, Sofia, why don't you sit here? Neha there, then Dee, Ambar, and Bastian. Okay, great. And Bastian is from Meta, and he brought toys, so he wins. Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, so we are here to talk about delivering customer-centric innovation to meet the evolving needs of our passengers. And as we talk about this, it's easy to get stuck on technology. But Sofia, I would like to start with you because you made a really good point in our prep call that technology is the enabler, it's not the destination itself. So would you start us out just talking more about this, please?
Good morning, Henri. Thank you very much for the invitation. Basically, we look at technology, as I was telling you, as an enabler to solve the pain points of our customer throughout the customer experience. And basically, it's very easy to look at all these toys, as you, as you were saying. They are very funny, they are very interesting, it's very curious. But in our case, what we see is that we look at the customer-centric innovation as understanding what customers need rather than start by the inventions.
Right.
And so we keep looking at and listening to the voice of the customer and studying the customer journey to see what are the key pain points. And sometimes there's a lot of things to solve that even don't involve technology. Of course, technology helps a lot, but there's a lot of things on processes, there's a lot of things that quick wins that don't involve technology. So when I tell you that is really because we cannot go for technology for the sake of technology. We need to understand what's the issue that we want to solve, what we want to improve, and then which type of technologies can help us to get to that end.
Okay, that's great. Neha, it looks like you're in violent agreement here, so.
You're completely agree with her.
Yeah.
I think technology for the sake of technology is not, it's not working?
I don't know. Yeah,
Okay. So completely agree with her. I think technology for the sake of technology is not something that helps either the customers or the airlines or the organizations. So I think what's important, firstly, as airlines, technology enables us to define customer experience, not just from a flight journey perspective, but the entire travel experience. So technology actually enables us to solve not just for flights, but also for hotel, transportation, any other trip-related details. Also, interestingly, typically when a trip is being planned, we see flight is the first thing that is being booked, and hence that's the first sort of customer touch point, which allows airlines to capitalize on that and then sort of do it across the value chain. However, like she said, technology, it's important to understand who is the customer who really needs it. What are the areas where we can actually deploy it? So for example, the market where I come from, India, we still have a lot of first-time flyers, people who are not used to the whole airport experience, people who've not maybe interacted with an app, an airline app. So then is technology the best enabler for them, or is it something in which there's a combination of human and technology in which we can address their needs? Also, when it comes to business as usual, I think that's where technology really helps in making the entire journey more seamless. But when it comes to situations like operational disruptions, I think that's where we need more of human involvement also. So technology for business as usual, and maybe for exceptions, I think humans are still something that we do rely on.
Okay. So I'd like to build on the points that you've both made, which is technology as the enabler, but it's not always as helpful to all of the customers. Humanity matters. The people we're serving are, oh yeah, humans. And you all serve a diverse group of customers in terms of age, technology comfort, travel familiarity. I mean, you have people who are on your planes every week, and you have people who are on your planes maybe for the first time in their lives. And Ambar, at Star Alliance, you're serving more than 24 airlines with this, and Dee, obviously, at IBM, you're working with a lot of different airlines. So the challenge we have is, how do you create, if you will, order from the chaos? We've got aging populations in many countries, and that brings with it not just maybe people who haven't used technology a lot. I mean, show of hands, how many of you help your parents or grandparents with their smartphones, right? But it's okay, right? But it's also thinking about accessibility, and it's thinking about, again, how do we make this customer journey better? So whoever would like to take on that rambling question, go ahead, Ambar. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So in the Star Alliance, we actually enable airlines to deliver a seamless customer experience when the traveler is in a multi-airline journey. So to that point, we have technology that is the backbone of what we do, where we deliver, for example, messages like bag track. We have a powerful solution where a traveler can always know where their bag is located, which is great, and that is technology, right? But then it comes to an IROP situation, and you find yourself that actually you want to speak to someone, right? So the technology at the Star allow us to identify potential misconnects when there is an IROP situation. And in our Star Alliance Connection Centers, what we do is go and grab the passenger, make sure that they make it to the gate, and that is a combination and the right balance between technology and also manual intervention, right? So I think it is a combination of both.
Yeah,
Please.
Go ahead.
Just regarding what you said on the different segments of customers, something that we are doing and that we keep doing is to, when we study our customer journey, you cannot do it all at once because there's different customer journeys.
Right.
So what we do is that we study different personas, and definitely you look to a completely different customer experience and a completely different pain points for a couple of retired people or the business travel that travels twice a week. And for those, there's different customer journeys, different pain points, different solutions to go through and try to implement. And that's a combination of looking to all the segments that we have, that we can and that we evolve to have a better customer experience in general.
Right.
Because as you said, a good experience for me, it's not a good experience for you. And it's completely different even with the technology. You were asking me, are people more mobile-centered, more technological? Of course, in general, yes. But there's still people that don't trust, for instance, to have the boarding pass on a mobile phone, and they won't print it because it's safer. So we need to have solutions that still please all the type of customers that we have.
Right. Yeah. Dee, at IBM, obviously, you're doing a lot of work to help the airlines.
Yeah, no, I see this as two different points. I think number one is we're focused on value, right? I mean, we are an airline, it's the business, and we need to make sure that anything that comes through is value focused, right? And that's innovation. You can look at technology companies to say, hey, what innovations we have, but then it's all about value in the ideas. So it's an inflection of innovation, ideas coming from technology, but it's really about the practice of the use case, the business value. That's number one. The second point is around customer and employee. You talked about this humanization, right? There's definitely one about your parents and other things around I'll call it the B2C experience. But I see airlines, as we advise around the world, they oftentimes don't bring what I call the B2E, the business to employee, and B2C, the consumer, together, right? Whether it's on board, whether it's in the station, and making sure that your customer journeys and the customer value is focused on both and bringing them together can be a way to, frankly, lift all employees and customers at airlines and around the world.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very good point. Our travelers and our employees are certainly distinct, but they shouldn't be isolated, at least in terms of information, sharing the customer information as appropriate with crew, airport staff, ground handlers, and so on. We're here to talk about the evolution of the customer journey and innovation. And Bastian, you are from the future. You are from Meta. Now, just a show of hands, how many people here have Facebook accounts? And how many have Instagram accounts?
And how
Bastian, these are your people.
What about WhatsApp? WhatsApp?
WhatsApp? All right.
All right.
All right.
Here we go.
You own us.
100% coverage.
This is kind of scary. All right. Bastian, in all seriousness, you're here, Meta is here for the first time at World Aviation Festival.
Right. Yeah.
And you are here with some of your new virtual reality tools.
Yeah.
And when you were showing this to me as we prepared, a lot of it was focused on the customer. But to Dee's point, there are probably some employee applications as well that could aid customer journeys, aid their jobs, and so on. I'm just wondering if maybe you could share how what you're doing could contribute to the customer journey from a Meta standpoint.
Yeah, thank you for setting that up. First of all, thank you everyone for being here and showing your interest in all of those topics. Thank you for the insights. I think it's interesting, 15 years ago, everyone was talking about smartphones being a gadget and a little tool that no one really needs in the future, but well, now we are here, everyone has an iPhone and an Android phone, and it's part of our daily business. So technology from day one has always been underestimated. That all said, I think one of the most important aspects that we may have missed a little bit is actually technology, and that's a bold statement. Maybe technology is not the most important piece, but the most important piece is user demand. User demand is driving what solutions and what kind of technology we build. We haven't forced a computer up on users. Users have asked for a more convenient way to work more effectively. And that's how the computer was built, right? And think about the evolution of the computer itself. It started as a bulky machine in your basement and went to all the way up to your laptop, all the way up to your desk and your laptop. It went all the way up to your pocket. And now we believe as Meta that the future of the internet and the future of the computer is moving all the way up to your head. It's getting closer to your senses. It's getting closer to your eyes, to your movement. And that's what we strongly believe in. Immersive technology, and this is one of our virtual reality headsets, is one piece of how we believe we can shape the future of the future journey of travelers, how we can shape the future of in-flight experiences by integrating immersive experience into the future user journey. And indeed, these are some of those devices that we have been investing into for 10 years now, and we believe it will integrate across the entire user journey. It will start by you exploring destinations virtually and figuring out where you want to travel. It will continue the moment you book your ticket and you have a smart glass on, and it will help you to find the right gate at the airport. It will allow you to get latest information on your flight status. It will allow you to access the in-flight entertainment system and watch movies via a virtual screen and via those devices, and in the future probably via those kind of devices that have that kind of form factor. And it will also allow you to book your rental car while you're on the flight, to book your sightseeing tours while you're in flight and virtually explore them before you book it. So that's how we, coming back to the point that you mentioned, technology enables the solutions that we build for travelers in the future, because travelers are asking for it. And they understand that this is something that is coming, which is probably the answer to the big question, what is coming after the smartphone? What's coming after the smartphone, we believe, is that kind of device. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see this. We've heard a lot about the potential of VR, virtual reality, for many years. I mean, going back to when I was still at Forrester, which was more than 14 years ago. So just a question, and this is really for the audience. You've got some great products there, but there has to be, from the airline standpoint, a business case for them to do it. As a consumer, we can buy what we want, and I know you would love us to all buy your products, but from the airline standpoint, whether it's developing content for this or participating on a particular platform, regardless of the platform, or using a technology, there has to be a business case. And so what do we do? How do we develop the cases, or how do you go about doing it in an objective way, as opposed to, this is really cool, we have to do it?
So just to try to say that we are not against technology. So
All good.
I really like the technology. I think that's very fancy. The thing is, we are at TAP are right now working on a transformation program, and I think the main thing is that we need to have all the things in perspective, because it's very easy to get lost on 1,000 technologies, and then you buy this one and the other one and the other one and this one, and then at the end things don't connect. And so I think the way we need to look at this is, as I was saying, end-to-end. So in our transformation program, we are looking through the whole process, as you were saying. So at the booking, inspiration, booking, and then the pre-travel, at the airport, all the disruption part, the relationship management. So looking to all the customer journey to see what we want, what's the end game, and then how to get there. And that's why I'm saying technology is an enabler. It's because it's going to help us to get there. And if you have the whole process end-to-end, it's much easier to get to a business case. Because the specific point situation, probably it's difficult to estimate what's the gain. If the things work from the beginning till the end, then you can commit with really impact and improvement.
So
Neha,
just to
yes,
add
please.
to that, your point on value being created and your point on business case. So when we started working on some of these tools, we had a virtual chatbot, which started off as a very basic sort of a customer query handling solution. And it worked well. In the pilot stage, we saw there was a quick reduction in the agent wait turnarounds. And then there was a baselining done to say that, okay, what is the kind of efficiency we can see in our contact centers if we were to implement this sort of a tool? And then to take it to the further next stage of development, now we are actually using it as a booking channel. So it has become a supplement to our existing direct channels, which are the website and the app, because there are a lot of bookings which are actually being driven on the chatbot, and customers feel very, very comfortable doing a complete booking journey on the chatbot. So which means that apart from it being a cost, which obviously adds on to the NPS, and that is something that we look at, but it's also a revenue driver for us. So I think that's how you sort of substantiate the business case. Because then there is a lot of ancillary revenue potential. And all this data then goes back to the CDP, to the customer database platform, which actually helps us in personalization and the entire offer order management journey that we are on.
But Neha, I just want to touch on something, clarify. It sounds like the booking on the chatbot platform came from the customer. So it was a organically customer-led initiative. Is that correct?
See, I would differ a little bit
Okay.
to what we heard on technology being led by consumer demand.
Okay.
I think many a times consumers don't know what technology can do for them. And hence it's companies like Meta which actually lead the way and tell the consumer that what is the possibility out there. So it was more led by us, but it was very, very welcomed by the consumer. So we obviously ran pilots, and we saw it's a channel that works, and it is something where we've actually been able to do move a large part of our booking volumes to that as a channel.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to make a mention. It's interesting, if we go back a number of years, you know, even when we were at United.com, right?
UAL.com.
UAL.com, forgive us. But the point is, I don't believe from a customer perspective, the booking experience has massively changed. We still, when we go on a website, mobile, frankly, even if you're going to use an LLM or a search, you're going to be putting in your O&D, your origination and destination, your dates, the number of people. This has gone on in our industry. If you take it and take that snapshot and then compare it to like an Amazon or another next generation shopping and retailing experience, it's very different. So for instance, I at Amazon use my reorder and putting things in the cart to remember. I don't know if anybody else feels the same, but I use it in a very different way than I do an airline booking process. I almost have to start from scratch every time on a booking, whereas I go back to Amazon, there is content, I've got my shopping cart, I've got gift registry, all these different angles that keep me engaged. But when I go back to my airline side, to be honest, it hasn't necessarily changed. This is the challenging piece. It hasn't really changed in the past 25 years.
Yeah, but okay, you're right. And some airlines have let travelers save city pairs, you know, that they may, itineraries that they may use on a regular basis. But we are on the cusp of change with generative AI,
That's right.
with tools like ChatGPT. So as our two direct airline reps, Neha and Sofia, are you starting to see any meaningful number of travel searches coming to you through these AI platforms? And you know, are you able to manage them? Are they good? Are you concerned that there's the power of these platforms to potentially stand between you and your customers, because they are well-funded, large technology organizations? We know what's happened with Google, and they're terrific, but you know, this could be even more.
Definitely, and we are working more and more with Google and with other suppliers on the upper funnel. So there's a lot of potential on using AI to get customers to all this inspiration part. Also, the search engine in our channels can benefit much more from AI. So it's something that we are learning and improving, because it has high potential, I would say. And the booking part, you are completely right. It's something that it's difficult to change. So it's a 10-year project. So it's something that all the airlines want to change, and most of them are already changing to have a normal way of buying, a chart where you can select several things, and not as the old-fashioned way. So it's something that we will get there, I hope, soon.
And just quickly, the optimistic side, very quickly. The optimistic side is the one order is the impetus for some of these change to get to more of a modern retailing environment. And I think that's a really key part that maybe we can talk about as well, the next generation.
That's part of our transformation program, and I would say most airlines are also doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask about the evolution into the offer and order world as a result. Ambar, it looks like you...
I was just going to say that from a Star Alliance point of view, we have been working on enhancing that experience for the customer when in the booking phase. And you know, just remember, we only focus on interline journeys when a traveler is traveling between two or more airlines, right? But we have been working on giving control to the passengers, and now you can select interline seats between two airlines. So this is something that we've been working for years, and it's technology enabled. So at the moment, 90% of our interline volume is enabled for passengers to select interline seat selection, and we're expanding that into paid seat selection. We're working very hard, and that is a new revenue stream for the airlines. So we have enhanced that part of the booking experience, because now we're giving control to the passenger instead of having to go to two different sources, two different airlines. Now with the first airline, you can actually perform that seat selection.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
Neha, yes.
just to add to that, I mean, I agree with Dee, I agree with Sofia, that the process hasn't changed to the extent that we would want it to. However, with technology like NDC, so now we've started having NDC as one of our booking platforms, and the only thing which limits us is the adoption rates because it's still not as well adopted. But yes, it does reduce a lot of dependence on the classical PSS and the GDSs of the world and is allowing us to connect more directly to the sellers of travel. So we are having the power to be actually able to price dynamically, to bundle and unbundle ancillary products and the core revenue product also. So I think it's a step in the right direction. It's a work in progress. Obviously, all of us talk about order management, and we are taking the steps that are necessary to reach there.
Bastian, a question for you. You know, with the new VR hardware that Meta is creating, you know, the airlines are trying obviously to get us to choose, you know, their carriers. It's all very friendly up here, but behind the stage, TAP and IndiGo would clobber each other's heads off if they needed to get that one customer because there are only a finite number of people who fly. Star wants people to fly its member airlines, and obviously we can only fly one airline at a time, so are we choosing a Star member versus a member of another alliance versus an independent airline? You know, as we talk about all of this, you know, what I'm trying to figure out, and I have a feeling a lot of people here are trying to figure out, is, you know, is the hardware that you've got more inspirational? How would we use it for a transaction? I mean, are we going to be wiggling our eyes through the screen or something? It's very Star Trek-like in a good way, but you know, I think we're all trying to wrap our heads around this. To understand, is it more of a marketing tool and an entertainment tool, or can it be used to help airlines sell products and services?
That's your selling pitch.
Yeah, I don't want to sell actually, but appreciate you saying that. So interestingly, we are investing into virtual reality for over 10 years already, right? Out there are probably 30, 40 million of those devices already in place. Last year we have invested, just to give you an idea, like last year we have invested $40 billion into research and development, into AI, but also into building this technology, making it even smaller, more powerful. This year we are investing $65 billion, which is I think 2.5 times the budget of the NASA in 2025. So
it's 65 billion with a B.
$65 billion into research and development, into AI-specific investments, but also into building and optimizing this hardware. The overall idea is that in the next years, we are getting to a form factor of that, right? With a display fully built in, and a headset and a device that has an AI on it that you can access all day long, and that allows you to wear those glasses wherever you go, and like accessing your immersive content via those displays that you have. And there's one important thing that we believe we can also change with your smartphone that you are using right now. We have all of those people running around and looking down at their smartphone. So one of the ideas with smart glasses and virtual reality enabled smart glasses in the future is that you're going back to that kind of view, right? You're looking people in the eye, you can communicate, you can access a display that allows you to directly translate languages.
So in the future, everyone will wear glasses?
So I wouldn't say that.
No, that's fine.
I wouldn't say that, as much as not everyone has a smartphone. Many have, but not everyone has a smartphone. All of that said, I think the moment we're able to drive that value that you mentioned for millions of people, and we are driving that already now because already millions of people have that kind of devices in place, that is the moment where people will reconsider why they need a smartphone anymore. Why, when you are able to access all of the information, all of the tools that you normally have on a smartphone that forces you to look down, you have all of that in your display. all of that in your field of view, then it's a reconsideration of the user demands and a reconsideration of the user value that you create. And that's where we believe we are going to. And that's not something that is far away in the future. Last year, we introduced our first real augmented reality glasses called Orion, which is actually that kind of form factor with actually displays built in. It's introduced as a prototype now, but we believe over the next years, this is coming.
Yeah, Dee, please.
Let me try to help my friend Bastian here on specific use cases in the airlines that we see of value, because we also do, we call it spatial computing as well. We've done this for clients, frankly, around the world. One specific is in-airport training, right? So you can put on a headset, you can learn how to drive the walkway, the bridgeway.
The jet bridgeway.
That's one use case. Now you can argue the value, how much is that? It's in the operations. Another one we just did for, I can't say who, but it is a Middle Eastern airline, about the in-flight experience that will happen in the future. We built that, we showcased it at the Paris Air Show, because they wanted to show the interior, how the inside cabin is going to look and feel. That is something that is very specific to them. There are other use cases, such as operations. And if you go in and you take a look at your operational board, if you put on the spatial, you can have multiple screens. Think of the air traffic controllers. I know we talked about that yesterday with the CEO panel, but that is one that you can actually expand the ability for these folks to manage complexity and real-time information very quickly in a screen. So there are these use cases within airlines that have huge value. I would encourage people to work with, of course, folks like us to help you understand where that value is and then how to deploy it out as well.
By the way, you can test both. Thank you for saying this. You can test both of those experience on site here. We have a team called Draxon, a partner that is over there that does ground operations handling. So and they prove that this is more effective than home training or like on-site training, leveraging virtual reality. At the same time, we have an in-flight entertainment experience here that we deployed with Lufthansa already, going back to the ROI and going back to us focusing on increasing the NPS score as part of that initial pilot we did. And we actually did. We had an 85% satisfaction rate, and now I'm coming back to the sales pitch. But we had an 85% satisfaction rate of people actually saying, hey, that's something we want to have on board of airplanes in the future, and I would book a flight with Lufthansa in the future because of that kind of technology enhancing my in-flight entertainment experience that I have on board. So thank you so much for mentioning those two examples.
I want to talk about collaboration, because Dee, you spoke with that, but specifically Ambar and Sofia, you've known each other for a while. TAP Air Portugal is a Star Alliance member. How have you guys gone about collaboration as it pertains to the customer journey? Because again, two minds are sometimes better than one, right? So.
I think for Star Alliance, one thing that is very clear is that we don't do things that airlines can do on their own. So if they can do it on their own, they are best placed to do things like that. We're really enablers. You need to think of us like maybe an Intel in a computer, right? So we connect airlines to make sure that in those multi-airline journey, they have the passenger has a seamless experience. So for example, bag track. So that is a solution that we have. Star Alliance tracks every second around 750 bags. And that is something that we built on behalf of our airlines, because for Sofia, for example, it will be very costly and very inefficient to connect with 25 airlines to perform that. So those are things that we do, because otherwise it will just not make sense for an airline, right? So that is an example of loyalty. We have our solutions to make sure that earn and burn miles is seamless for the customer in the end. And we connect all of those airlines so that if you travel with TAP, for example, but you want to claim your miles with Lufthansa, that happens automatically. Imagine how costly it will be.
And the lounges, then the systems in the lounges for the Star members. So everything that is among or all airlines, Star give us a big leverage on those connecting the dots.
We support the airlines. We don't do what they can do on their own.
Okay. Neha, you and Sofia separately in prep calls spoke about the importance of humanity at your airlines. And we're talking about technology, and Bastian is showing us the future. I'm not sure our brains can process all that VR stuff yet, but it's coming, it's here, it's all coming. We can't lose sight that it's all here to serve us as people. And so I'd like you all to talk about how you go about keeping the focus on the humanity, both the customer and your employees, with this as you're developing the customer journey. Because, again, it's not computers sitting in the seats, it's us.
I can start. So we basically think that we live in an era where human touch is in fact a luxury. So it's a bit the opposite of what would be like. Meaning that, and give you an example. We have a service for our navigators, which is our top tier Miles & Go program, that is the most valued feature of the navigator program, which what we call the concierge. The concierge is a real person on the WhatsApp, 24/7, always available and solving everything, all the exceptions, everything. So that's a very, very valuable service that we offer with this human touch. Indeed, what we see is that we cannot offer this to all the customers. So the human touch in this case will be for the top tiers, and we really need technology, not to replace the human touch, but to amplify the human touch. And so what we can do and what we are working on is to put AI to have a similar feature for all customers, but not with the human touch, with AI. So that's the way we typically look at this. Let's keep the human touch for specific tiers or for specific points or for specific segments, and let's go and try to offer this to all the customers using technology, amplifying with the technology. Otherwise, we can get there to this very experience.
That's interesting. Thanks. Neha?
So I'll go back to 18 years back when we started the airline. One of the pillars that we said that we will offer to the customers is courteous and hassle-free. I don't think it has changed in the last 18, 19 years. Customers still want courteous and hassle-free, whether you choose the technology route or you choose the humane route to offer it to them. So technology and human feedback, it's kind of like a feedback loop that we create, wherein technology enables the humans, our cabin crew, to do their job better, to serve the customers better on board. And then the extra time that they get because of being more, because of having more information at hand, they're able to observe these customers. They are able to actually notice what are the requirements for the customers, and that comes back into a feedback loop, which then our CDP captures, and then we make sure that it's a sort of an ongoing thing which comes in the system, which then is used to serve these customers better ultimately. So after the $65 billion, I didn't think I could come up with a bigger number that would impress the audience. But we actually have 1.7 trillion parameters that goes into the database to actually come up, which generative AI uses, to actually come up with more personalized solutions and offerings for the customer. So that is something which is an ongoing process which we're working on. We started with generative AI, and now it's moving on to agentic AI, where we're trying to create more personalized journeys, where the feedback that is collected through technology, through the human touch, is something that is fed back into the system in order to provide that courteous and hassle-free.
You know, as we start to wrap up, I'd like to get your takes on where you will be focusing your customer journey focuses over the next 12 to 24 months. I don't expect you to say anything confidential, much to your competitors' frustrations. I'm sure they'd love to know your super secrets, but where are you putting your emphasis over the next 12 to 24 months for how you are going to evolve your customer experiences and serve your customers even better? Sofia, would you start us off, please?
Yes, we basically we have a vision and ambition to that our customer experience must be simple, caring, and reliable. And so we are implementing a roadmap with all these initiatives, which basically needs to feed this ambition of being simple, reliable, and caring. And for the caring part, there's a lot of the frontline employees initiatives. For the simple and for the reliable, there's a lot of technology involved as well.
Right. I just will say, as someone who flies TAP, you do have some wonderful, caring employees. And by the way, there's a very cool TAP store, and they sell
like your socks.
TAP branded socks, and I've got a pair on with the old historic
So you
logo.
can
I
go
love
to
that.
TAP and buy some socks.
Yeah.
Now I have a
So
selling speech as
They
well.
have actually. They got some cool merch there. What's the focus going to be at IndiGo over the next 12 to 24 months?
So I think just evolving the product as the customer also evolves. So when we started off, we had like 8% of Indian households who were middle and high income groups. And today we are looking at that number going up to 50%. So our customer has, in 2030, so our customer has evolved, the purchasing power of the customer has evolved, and which is why you see our business model also evolving. So we started off as a more cost-conscious, very, very low-cost kind of a carrier, and now we say that we are moving into a more hybrid space because we feel our customers have the capacity to pay for a product that is more evolved as per their aspirations. So that is something that we are working on. We've designed a long-haul product, which includes hot meals, which includes complimentary meals. So these are all changes that are coming about, basis user needs, like he said, because we observe the customer journey and we say, okay, this is what we will design for our customers. So we are progressing as the customer is progressing.
Thanks. Dee, over the next 12 to 24 months, what's
Yeah.
IBM going to be focusing on to help your airline customers?
Yeah, so we're intensely focused on the next generation user experience and user design based on the one order standard. Some of you know we had our partner with Flyer. We're launching out, we had Tristan Thomas on stage, obviously with Sam Chamberlain with Flyer, talking about the next generation interface for Riyadh Air. That is what we're intensely focused on, and then being able to showcase that and continuing to showcase with other airlines about how you can drive value. It's not about the technology, but how you drive value in this new world in an ecosystem play, and this also has AI components into it using the LLMs. That is where we're focused over the next 12 to 24 months. We'd encourage all the airlines to come and chat with us about what does it look like in the new world.
Ambar, what's the focus at Star?
In Star Alliance, we are laser focused on customer experience, and everything else is noise for us. If you want to put in a very simple term, we are trying to make the interline journey as close as possible as an online journey, so that when you fly, for example, TAP 2 segments, it feels exactly the same that if you fly TAP with Lufthansa. That is our goal. Obviously, we need to bridge the gaps in many things because, airlines use different PSSs, have different processes, but really our goal is to make that interline journey as close as possible to an online journey.
Thanks.
For us, it's pretty simple. It's more or less investing into hardware and into software to really build the most advanced I think most powerful virtual reality and hardware that is in the market. And by that, we actually want to empower airlines to leverage that technology to amplify the user experience. That's our goal. Our role has always been building the best hardware and software and also building the most advanced AI in order to empower partners, and in that case, airlines to leverage this technology.
I have to ask, Buzz, I know, again, we're focused on the customer here, but are there potential applications there for airline employees, like for MRO, for cabin crew, for pilots? Maybe it is on the job, or maybe it's training or something like that. I don't know how we'd feel if we saw cabin crew walking down with these glasses and
Right. Yeah.
You know,
he talked about it. He mentioned some of the examples. I mean, ground handling training, in-flight staff training. Indeed, this is something where virtual reality can really amplify the training outcome and the training results. And that's where it's used across many airlines already. Not only Lufthansa, but many airlines already deploy headsets, not only our headsets, but also any kind of virtual reality headsets to really improve training outcomes, to really improve concentration, to really improve retention. And it's proven that it works. So there's a big opportunity, specifically in the training field, not only the aviation field, but also other fields as well, where this technology is already leveraged at scale.
Okay, thank you. We are out of time, and I know there are other great sessions that are going to be taking place, so we want to be respectful. Bastian, Ambar, Neha, Sofia, thank you. Please join me in thanking the panel.